instance, the view.
All right.
Okay. All right. So he says, let us, at the beginning of book 2, or the end of book 1, he says, let us investigate in the first instance the views that have been put forward about the best regime. So this is commonly what Aristotle does at the beginning of his discourses, as you know. He discusses previous views. Usually, actually, he does it in book 1, and then book 2 moves on, but he's already given us a whole discussion that follows, I guess, follows from his ethics. It seemed to me to follow from pretty closely from his ethics. And now he's going to look at previous views that have been put forward about what form of government is best. So we now have some idea of what government is supposed to do. It's supposed to instill virtue in human beings, even without knowledge, is the way we were talking about it earlier, and largely the way we talked about it last week. So now we're going to see what sort of regime does that, does that or something like it the best according to some of the previous views. At least that's what he suggests we're going to get. Should we see what's going on here? Who wants to
Yeah.
read for us here?
Again, I'd prefer not because this translation, I don't enjoy it. But
Shall I read?
thanks, Thomas.
I just offered to read.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you, Sibo.
Never mind. Oh, read to me. It's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since then, we propose to inquire what civil society is of all others best for those who have it in their power to live entirely as they wish. It is necessary to examine into the polity of those states which are allowed to be well governed. And if there should be any others, which some persons have described, and which appear properly regulated, to note what is right and useful in them. And when we point out wherein they have failed, let this not be imputed to an affectation for wisdom, for it is because there are great defects in all those which are already established that I have been induced to undertake this work. We will begin with that part of the subject which naturally presents itself first to our consideration. The members of every state must of necessity have all things in common, or some things in common, and not others, or nothing in common at all. To have nothing in common is evidently impossible, for society itself is one species of community, and the first thing necessary thereunto is a common place of habitation, namely the city, which must be one, and this every citizen must have a share in. But in a government, which is to be well founded, will it be best to admit of a community in everything which is capable thereof, or in only some particulars, but in others not? For it is possible that the citizens may have their wives and children and goods in common, as in Plato's Commonwealth. For in that Socrates affirms that all these particulars ought to be so. Which, then, shall we prefer? The custom which is already established, or the laws which are proposed in that treatise? That's chapter 1. And I assume yeah.
I
take it
preferred my translation.
Sorry, it's a very old, very, very old translation, this.
Yeah, the translation of republic as commonwealth is, don't think I've ever heard that before.
Just a little historical point, I can't help myself. When the English killed their king under Oliver Cromwell, they called the internecine state a commonwealth. It's the Anglo-Saxon for republic.
Even republic is not necessarily a particularly good translation of Politea. Politea, it means something like I mean it's actually kind of it has a double meaning. It could either mean the group of citizens or the citizen or a citizen in the group, which is neat for the Republic because the Republic is about the analogy between the soul of the whole and the soul of the individual.
I just wanted to ask Larry, is this the only book of Aristotle's that has the same title as Plato's? Or same title, Ta Politea?
Uh, does it? Does it have the same title?
Because you said that because it's called The Politics, the would be Ta Politea, and the Republic is
I don't
Politea.
know if it's Ta Politea, actually. I don't know what the Greek title of the politics is. That's a good question. But Aristotle didn't title his texts, right? Whatever the title is, it can be attributed to somebody other than Aristotle. Let's see what the title is.
What's going on there, Sipo? You look like you're having a fight in your room.
No, Avila was saying hi to you guys, but I was telling her the screen is muted. I mean, the phone is muted.
We say hello.
She's gone now. It's too late.
She's gone now. Oh, okay. Thought we were gonna get a Abuyile sighting for a change. Tired of looking at you, Sipo.
Ah, this guy.
This guy.
This guy. Bruh. What are these? Sorry, what are these three alternatives are conceivable? Members of a state must either, okay, it's talking about members of a state, not types of a state.
I think it's politikon, which is, I guess, of the politics or of the polis.
Okay. Because there isn't a sense there of a reference to Plato. It's not like of Plato's politics. It's not like not the sense of a commentary.
No, I don't think so. So we did get a reference here again to a community, Koinonia, which we had at the beginning of book 1, collection of the unity of a bunch of things in common. Regime is a certain sort of collection.
Yeah.
This first line, our purpose is to consider what form of political community is best of all for those who are most able to realize their ideal life. So is that what is the form of political community that is best? Is that because there could be a form of political community for those who are not able to realize their ideal life.
No, it's not charging.
I didn't understand that question here. Daniel, can you say that again?
Yes, the wording of the first line, our purpose is to consider what form of political community is best of all for those who are most able to realize their ideal life. So that it's for the citizens who are most able to realize their ideal life. So then we're not considering the form of political community for those who are not able to realize their ideal life. Let's say best life.
What would that mean for somebody to not be able to realize the best life that they're able to live?
Exactly who needs ruling.
You-
Now I'm confused.
Sorry,
What
Daniel,
would it mean for somebody to not be able to realize the best life that they're able to realize?
To be in a form of community that 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 prevents that.
We
Yeah,
want them to live, we want everybody to live in a form of community in which they're able to realize their best life, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I'm not sure I understand your question here.
Yes. No, I'm with you. I think it's the wording again. For those who
mm,
are most able to realize their best life, then makes it sound like they are those who are not able. Um, then if there are those who are not able to realize their best life, then it seems like the question of what the political community would be then is a different question.
Is
Like
your
the natural slaves and those who need ruling.
is realize is in realize recognition or realize is in achieve. Like how, which realize is the when he says realize their ideal life, does it mean achieve the ideal life, or does it mean realize what it is and then pursue it? I have the same copy you have, Daniel. So now you've made me confused too, because I just assumed it meant achieve the ideal life.
Oh, okay. So what form of political community most enables people to achieve their ideal life?
That's what I thought it meant. But now
Yeah.
you got me wondering if it didn't mean the other thing.
This is why I've wanted to get a different translation because there's a few um like the expression has there seems to be another meaning possible, but
Hmm.
Well, I can give you my translation here. It is a little bit different. Since it is our intention to study the sort of political community that is superior to all for those capable of living as far as possible in the manner one would pray for, we should also investigate other regimes, both those in use in some of the cities that are said to be well managed, and any others spoken about by certain persons that are held to be in a fine condition, in order that both what is correct in their condition and what is useful may be seen. This is all still one sentence. And further, that to see something apart from them may not be held wholly to belong to those wishing to act the sophist, but that we may be held to enter into this inquiry because those regimes now available are in fact not in a fine condition.
okay.
That's all,
I think
all one sentence.
yeah. Okay. So we are aiming to understand the best community, the best political community, and in that attempt we're going to consider other forms.
Yeah, we're going to see what people have
why
said about it.
why is this why would this be your translation says a an incentive to sophistry. Mine just says affectation to wisdom. Why would the consideration of alternatives be uh, a an expression of sophistry or an affectation of wisdom?
My last sentence says we only undertake this inquiry because all the constitutions with which we are acquainted are faulty. So it's not a sophistical display. Because every instance with which they are equated is faulty, so you're going to look at them each.
This guy has a footnote that this claim about sophistry is probably a reference to Isocrates. But I'm not sure that we need to say that. I think what he's emphasizing in the next sentence, exactly what Daniel pointed out, is that we're not just trying to critique regimes so we can look smart. We're not just acting like the sophists or say, this regime could do this better, and like we're just critiquing to look smart. We're actually trying to figure out how best to organize a society so that people can flourish. So we want to see what regimes have done well as what they've done badly.
And then he makes the three divisions, three possible, or three alternatives. All things in common, nothing in common, some things in common.
He dismisses that nothing in common, saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
Because everybody needs.
Because everyone, even by inhabiting a
community,
common place, has something in common.
Yeah.
And presumably has some sort of desire to make that place a nice place to live.
Oh, that's my place.
But a government which is to be well-founded will, it best to admit, a community in which everything is capable, or only in some particulars. And so isn't he, in this last paragraph, kind of raising a question? He's saying whether it's impossible for us to have nothing in common. So there are only two options. One is when we have some things in common, we go radical, or he thinks, well, it seems like he thinks Plato's quite radical here. Goods are in common in Plato's Republic, for in that Socrates affirms that all these particulars ought to be so. Which then shall we prefer? The custom which is already established, or the laws which are proposed in that treatise? So I take it that that's going to be something of the subject for the coming chapter.
Oh, looks like we lost Sipo here. There he is. Yeah, it looks like it. We've dismissed that the nothing in common political community is a type of in common. And at the very least, he says we're going to share the land in common. We're going to live in the same place. That's quite a big very least. I mean, if you're sharing land, you're sharing sustenance in some way. Now the question is how far that commonality goes. And of course, the Republic is famous for wives and children in common. And that's the claim that he's going to consider here.
Wait, hold on. Is he saying that we share that Plato says that because we live together in a common place, that we ought to share wives in common? Am I following? Am I okay? Just making.
No. Plato doesn't say that, and Aristotle's not suggesting he said that.
Okay.
The very least is that we share a common place, and the political community is a type of commonality. Community and common are translating the same root here. This koinonia that we talked about right at the beginning of book 1. So the question is it just the place and sustenance? Is it not even sustenance? Or do we go all the way to Plato's Republic? Is it better to share even wives and children? And that's the first thing we're going to discuss here.
I think Sipu is being summoned by
Wives and children.
wives and children.
And maybe it's just the internet that's not working.
Yeah.
Is that a map of Johannesburg behind you, Daniel?
It is, yeah. I remixed it a bit. Joburg's like notoriously hard to navigate unless you're familiar with it, because it's just kind of sprawled out. But I noticed when I was looking at the map that there is a kind of this highway that goes around the center. It does have a kind of an egg shape. There is a center to it. So then I was drawing on that.
I see. Is that the red road or the yellow road? Looks like it's got two loop roads.
Yeah, yeah. The red one, is it's quite a big circle. I think it would be to go around it would almost be 70, 80 to 100 Ks. Um, the airport's around like the top right. Joburg centers towards the bottom, and then like Santon at the top right as well. And then it
So
just kind of
where are you?
I'm
Right, you're in Joburg, right?
yeah, I'm in Randburg, so like top left as you're looking at it. Top left there.
Okay.
The G20 somewhere here later in the year. Somewhere in
Really?
Joburg, I don't know. Yeah.
G20 is in Joburg. That's interesting.
They had the they have a pre-session earlier this year. But it's happening in December, I think. Trying to figure out where exactly. I thought it would be Joburg, like old Joburg town. But there's a few convention centers, maybe in Santon. I was trying to look where work is being done, where the roads are being fixed. Might be,
Yeah, that's a pretty good guess. Yeah.
yeah.
So you
Just
guys
follow a
gonna
trail
Trump's gonna come
of
visit Johannesburg. That'll be fun for everybody.
make
Yeah,
make make Joburg great again.
yeah. I want to do something, but I don't know what to do. So just I put the map. Philosophy, performance, art somewhere. Maybe we'll have a politics discussion. I'll just be sitting outside the venue.
G20
Yes.
is in Johannesburg. That's really interesting, actually. Has it ever been in Africa before?
I'm not sure. Not sure.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not like someone who keeps track of where exactly the G20 goes, but yeah, I don't think it's ever been in Africa.
Yeah, it's the first time it will be hosted on African soil. Um,
Hmm.
December 1st. South Africa is holding the G20 presidency, so it's a year-long process. So from December 1st last year to 30th of November this year, and then the summit is at the end of the year. Yeah. Did you see any of Cyril Ramaphosa in the White House? Either of you?
I watched the whole thing.
He was in the White House. He came to visit Trump.
Trump, yeah.
Mhm.
How was
Well,
it? Did they get along? Did Trump convince him to stop oppressing the Afrikaans minority?
What was your impression, Tom?
Yeah, I thought it was quite funny that Oom Johan Rupert like sort of loomed over and went, like it could always seem like he had like a braai and there was like a fire in the middle of it, like, listen, Donald, if this is the way it is in South Africa, like we've got way too much crime. Like it's not a black or a white issue. It's just like chill. I thought that was quite funny the way he did that. And he threw, what's his name? That schoolboy Steenhuisen. He threw him under the bus, saying that the Western Cape has the worst crime in the country, even though it's run by the official opposition.
That
I don't know
true?
if that's.
Cape has the worst crime in the country?
I don't know. I would have thought it was Joburg, but Cape Town's probably like the Cape Flats and Khayelitsha are not friendly places to go.
Yeah, I don't know how you measure that. Worst
Yeah,
crime.
I also
worst
but
crime.
I think we do have a lot of murders here, because we have a lot of gang violence.
Yeah, that's what was put in opposition, like the farm murders, and then just I
Gang.
think one of Ramaphosa's responses was that crime is an issue in general, and violence and murder.
Well,
Uh,
just to give the Ernst Roots guys their due, it does seem to me to be wrong that someone like Malema can go around singing a song saying "kill the boer, kill the farmer," and there are no consequences. The highest court in this country has said it's all right because it has a struggle context. I I don't quite I just think that
no, yeah,
just seems like it just seems like a moral, like how can you let people actually actively call for an ethnic group's murder? It just seems like a
yeah, yeah,
have we learned that? Well, I think the only thing we learn from history is that we don't learn from history.
yeah. My sense of Malema is that he's just like a kind of populist, so
Yeah,
it gets a reaction. So
that's probably true. It's a good sign that he's corrupt because it means he's going to be more easy to control. Um, but I'm not sure about that. These things have a nasty habit of metastasizing. They, the ANC needs to put, or we just need to have one bad election. And we came pretty close with, I mean, if you think about the EFF and the MK as basically being one party, with the only exception being that the MK is a Zulu identitarian party.
yeah,
They got they got 25% of the vote, just about.
it's the kind of links with our material, because another part of the farm issue is the Land Expropriation Act. Um,
Apparently, it's like a law that's not a law. It permits expropriation, but like not really. it's like a legally. My cousin, who's an advocate, said that it takes the energy out of the expropriation movement, the political momentum out of it, but doesn't actually legally provide for any serious expropriation. I don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I'm forgetting the exact details, but um there's one clause that people are speaking about that's concerning, that can be manipulated, but otherwise I think it's similar to what the Constitution has been before. Like what's the issue? Like expropriation without compensation. There has
Yes.
been there's precedent for that. Like if the state needs to use land
No,
for
that's it. Well, there's precedent for expropriation with compensation. There's not precedent for expropriation without compensation, as far as I'm aware.
makes sense.
If you need to build a road, for instance, you can expropriate people's land to build a road
Yeah.
or a hospital or a fire pool. If you the president, no, I'm joking. He didn't do that. Just joking.
I'm just giving it a Google.
What are you going to Google whether land was expropriated for the fire pool? What is it?
I heard
Dan, I can't hear you.
um uh yeah, it's on this the compensation. Um I can't find it now. There's a specific clause in it that is what was causing concern, because it can be. It could be used and
Might be worth talking about land expropriation at some point in context of the politics for us.
yeah.
Maybe once we get a little bit further. I mean, we can already kind of see what what sort of question Aristotle is going to ask about it. Seems like there are at least two, and everything reduces to whether or not it contributes to human flourishing. Um, and there's two ways that can be brought about. One is that people have to eat. So obviously the land should belong, or from that perspective, obviously the land should belong to the person who's most able to produce food with it, whoever that is. And then the other is that people need to, a part of human flourishing is actually having a craft and doing a job. From that perspective, people should be given land that allows them to exercise their faculties. But that doesn't seem to be the debate in South Africa. Kind of seems to be capitalists on one hand and transformationists on the other hand. Neither seems particularly concerned with human flourishing. But I don't know. Anyways, guys, I have to run. Should we plan on next week? Same time, same place.
Time, same
Yes.
place. Yeah, sorry, my audio was bugging out at the end here, but
Yeah, that's all right.
Good for-
We didn't get very far this week. We
No.
but we did read the first chapter, so we got our foot in the door of book
yeah,
two,
yeah.
and now we know roughly what we're going to talk about. What should
Yeah.
be in common in the society.
We did talk about politics though, and political concepts.
We talked about politics. Yeah.
Quite interesting how. Sorry, I know you need to go, Larry, but it does seem like how do you how would Aristotle frame our debates? It seems like for me an interesting question. Like if you were to put him in a time machine and bring him here, how would he understand them?
Well, there's something about modern politics that is completely antithetical to ancient politics. The paradigm for one way of understanding the paradigm, I should say, of modern politics is freedom of choice. And you know, we want to like the US it's all about personal freedom and allowing for the most personal freedom for the most people without infringing on other people's personal. That's not Aristotle's. That's not the way Aristotle frames the very idea of politics. Politics is about human flourishing. And the best political leader is not somebody who leaves you alone to be free and do your thing. It's the leader who helps you become the sort of person who flourishes. Those are very different. One is very hands-off. It's the modern paradigm, and another is very hands-on. That's the ancient paradigm. When we think of hands-on government, I may have told you this. I may have told you guys this story once. The first time I taught politics, or one of the first times I taught political philosophy at UCT, was teaching the Republic, which is very hands-on, at least as hands-on as Aristotle. And this Iranian guy in the class came to my office hours after class, this older student. And he said, you can't be teaching this. Like, this is, you are giving the Iranian regime's propaganda. He is somebody who is against the Islamic takeover of, or he was at the time somebody who was against the Islamic takeover of Iran. And he said, you know, this is our government's propaganda, and it's very anti-modern. And he's right. It is the Iranian regime's propaganda. The question with the Iranian regime is whether they're actually doing it or not. But for the ancients, that is the role of the political power in place, is to help people organize their lives and flourish. It's not to keep people's hands off of each other. It's actually, it has a positive role. So when Aristotle is going to consider, just to return to your question, Thomas, when Aristotle is going to frame the issue of land redistribution, that's how he's going to frame it. It's totally different frame.
I find it sorry, Larry, you were going to say? No, I just think it seems like a healthier frame. I would. I mean,
yeah,
you could debate that, but well, one could debate that, but it seems like a healthier frame to me.
might be better at its best and worse at its worst. Hard to say. Anyways, guys, I do have to go.
Ciao, ciao, Larry.
Yeah.
Don't get
Alright.
lost.
See you all next week.
Ciao, ciao.
Cheers, cheers.
Bye.
See you later.